Small talk, yeah. Talk about the things people do and say. Whatever gets talked about, it's okay.
Hi, sweethearts. Welcome back to Small Talk. Today on my couch, I've got Jonna Ross.
Hi, guys.
Jonna, I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we just clunked heads. You're
It's
the
okay.
only person I can kind of clunk heads
No,
with.
because we're like,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
it's great. So, really quickly, Jonna was actually my first guest on a series that I started.
Oh my
She was my
gosh.
one and only guest.
Yeah.
So, the Heart of Hope series. I'll put the link down here below. But we filmed that a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was like my first episode on anything or like talking about stuff with another person. It was really cool. I loved it.
And that was way before your Instagram following or
Oh my
doing
gosh,
the
yeah, it
dances
was like
or
right-
anything.
Yeah, right when after that, I think you helped me figure out all that stuff and like it started booming.
Well, okay, so let's just get into it. Let's explain
Yeah.
who Jonna Ross is.
I'm gonna sleep over. Are you happy?
Yes, can I sleep over every night?
It's so much better than sleeping alone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's so cozy.
My mini vape.
A mini vape.
Just perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, just to give a background, Jonna was my first friend I ever made that was also little like me, and I was her first little person
Yes.
friend too.
I mean, I always met like little people, but I never like hung out or like got to know someone. And we actually met at a comedy store. We just like bumped into each other at the bathroom, and you were like, "Oh, there's another little person." And I was like, "Hi, how are you?"
Literally the first person that I met that was smaller than me.
Yeah, exactly.
Jonna, why don't you let the audience know how tall you are?
I am 3 feet, technically 3 feet. Yeah.
So she
But I
is
have,
shorter
like-
than an LA parking meter.
Yes, very short. I'm a yardstick. But I like to say I'm 3'1", like on a good day, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Feeling good.
Me
So,
too. I say 4'6", but I really think technically I'm like
Right?
4'4".
Yeah.
But 4.5 feet tall just sounds so much better than 4'4" for some reason.
And 3 feet is just like bam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 foot.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that God only lets things grow until they're perfect, right? So clearly we got there quickly.
Very. I love it.
But okay, so this is the thing that's really interesting is I have spina bifida. Jonna has dwarfism.
Yes, I have a rare type of dwarfism called cartilage hair hypoplasia. It's a big word, but it basically just I have like there's only 200 in the whole world that have it, and I have like I'm one of the smallest in that like type of dwarfism as well.
There's only 200 people?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're one of 200 people?
Around it's like 200 to 300, but yeah, it's very small.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
It's really uncommon. So yeah.
Wait, that's really cool.
I know. And like the things that come with it are like my hair is not supposed to be very like long or have a lot of it, which I do. She did my
Yes,
hair.
I
It
just
looks
did her
beautiful.
hair.
And my joints and stuff, I can bend them back. It's a talent of mine. I
Way
know,
back.
all the way back. Yeah.
And she has
I
little
know, just
little hands.
little hands.
I have abnormally large hands for my
You
size.
have long fingers. Look at those things.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be a foot taller. So, and no, seriously, this is a real thing. You know, my torso is very small.
Because
Okay,
so
let's just talk about this for a
yeah.
second. So when I stand up next to Jonna, I'm way taller than her. But if I sit down and I'm not on my pillow, she's bigger than me.
Yeah, you like
Yes.
fit right there
Yes.
perfectly. Yeah.
Okay,
so
but I'm gonna sit on my pillow so
yeah,
we can
okay,
be
it's
the
okay.
same size
I
together.
understand. Yeah.
But what was really interesting when we met is like I have spina bifida, so like technically I'm not a little person, but I'm the same size as little people, so I do consider myself a little person in that sense. And Jonna was the first person that I became really good friends with, and we were able to like connect on a deep level about the challenges of being little in a world that's made for
Average size. Like,
Exactly.
Everything is. I mean, my gosh, I can't even turn the light on and off sometimes. because the thing's way high. Or like, oh, the worst part is like going to the bathroom and you can't lock the lock. Like, I have to make sure my shit's on the ground. So I'm like, there's someone here. I'm right here. Like, don't come in, please. Yeah.
So, being one of 200 in one of the rarest forms of dwarfism that you have, when did you like realize that you were smaller than everybody else, or that you weren't gonna grow anymore?
Yeah, so I think I was like in preschool, really young. I remember like these kids were telling me that I was a midget, and I was like, what is that? Like, what does that word mean? But they were laughing, so I knew there was like something wrong. And then they would say, oh, you have short legs, short arms. And I was like, but yours are short too, because we're like, at that point, we're still the same size, you know?
Yeah.
And so I went home crying, and I was like, Dad, what does this mean? And he basically explained to me, like, you know, I have dwarfism and what that means, and you're a little bit different, but, you know, that doesn't mean you can't do anything that they can do. It just, you know, you're just compacted, basically. And but that was the first thing that I realized, like, I'm different from the entire world, and I will always be different. And it really sucked. I did not like it.
Yeah,
So,
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So, when it's really crazy because we've been friends for almost 3 years now. Gosh, it's really gone by. But so much has changed in the last couple years of our friendship. I mean, you met me my first year of comedy, and I met you way before you did any dance, before you really even put yourself out there on social media. By the way, Jonna is a social media rock star, so you have to follow her at Little Miss Ross.
Yes.
On Instagram. Ross. And she has a YouTube channel too, but she's a dancer. On there, so you have to find all of her dance videos.
Yeah,
but
that's like it's LILMISSROSS.
And bam, I'll pop it up here, so they'll see that. They'll know where the link is. But when we first met, you know, I remember you were following like 5,000 people. And
it's embarrassing.
She was following 5,000 people, and you maybe only had not even 1,000 Instagram followers, and now you're way over 20K. And I remember having a conversation with you. I was driving home from the comedy club, and I was like, Jonna, you need to put yourself out there, because you had just started doing your dance videos. And I was like, post those dance videos on Instagram. I was like, stop being a follower. You are a star.
I know. I know. And it like hit me, and I was like, you know what? I am a star, but like, I didn't know how to do this. I had no idea the whole like Instagram world at all. And like how to, you know, make videos look good or whatever, or you helped me with all that. And I remember we were at dinner, and I posted one like right after I danced at the studio, and I was like, this is weird. Like, I'm getting like thousands of views like in the matter of like an hour, and I think by the time we left there was like 10,000, and you're like, then there's 20 and like 40, and I think we woke up to like
almost 100, almost 100,000.
Yeah, it was insane.
And we stayed up all night responding back to every single positive comment.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to another episode of Small Talk with Lila Hart. Okay, that's me.
Then, you know what's so crazy? So this one I want to talk about too is like, you know, before that big video, you had some other videos that were shared, and for the majority, I would say like 80% of the comments were like really positive, and you know, like there were some comments that were negative. How do you overcome and deal with the negative comments that some people write on your videos?
Yeah, I definitely like have had some really fucked up ones. I think the worst one was one that said, you know, do they actually exist? And I was like, really? Of course I exist. Like, do you exist? But I remember thinking that, like, okay, if I'm going to continue this and I'm not going to let people get to me, because that's what I did for my forever before I was like comfortable enough to dance. I had to basically use it as a fuel to the flame that like I continue to go. Like, okay, well, you think that way, well, I'm gonna like continue and see like where I'm gonna go from this negative comment. So every negative comment that I see is just like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep doing it because it's obviously affecting you in a way, and so I'm gonna just keep not stop from doing what I love, you know.
No, I totally feel you on that. The meanest thing anyone ever told me was that my legs looked like chopsticks, which, was the best thing that anyone could have said because it turned out to be one of my best jokes that I do on stage, my chopstick legs.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I know.
I'm like sweating. I'm sweating. Why do I feel like there's like a lot of people in front of us and there's no one?
Please lights, bro. That's a lot of smoke. Sorry.
Come in. Hi.
Hi.
This is my roommate Mark. This is my friend Jonna.
Hi, nice to meet you, Mark.
Just, you could pop in. Want to promote your episode?
There you go. Hey.
That wasn't slick. I was trying to be smooth. But, hey, everybody.
Okay. He's on an episode. I'll put the episode link on there too. Which episode number was that? Episode 2.
Oh, wow.
Mark was one of my first guests
Nice.
on Small Talk.
Wait, what episode is this?
Episode 33.
Oh, 3-3.
Yes,
Okay,
episode 33 for 3 foot tall Jonna.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Okay.
Oh, good. It should have been 31, so 3.
3-1.
Yeah, but it's okay.
It's all right. I'll give myself 2 more inches.
Yeah, 3'3". Nobody will know the difference. Oh God. So, what I want to talk about too is like one of the first videos that we put up was your pumpkin patch video. I remember we went to the.
Can we tell this story, please?
Yeah.
No? Okay, go.
You tell the story.
Oh God. Okay.
About pushing
Yes.
you and oh my God.
Okay, so we go to this pumpkin patch, and I usually have a scooter that helps me like get around, like an old Razor, like legit, OG. But with the pumpkin patch, there's like all kinds of stuff going on and dirt, and I can't go through it. So we use my wheelchair,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I didn't even think about the fact that like she's not like usually people that are pushing me are average size, so they're able to like go through the dirt and like all the holes and stuff, and she did a great job.
I tried my best.
But we got stuck like multiple times.
In front of like the track, like in front of, so I'm trying to push Jonna in this wheelchair, and at one point we're like, should we just put you in a wheelbarrow? I don't know. And
seriously,
there was a tractor of people
waiting
to like, we were about to get hit by a tractor, but,
basically
clearly we didn't get hit by the tractor
because we were stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
But
And that's
we
when
made it.
that's when I took the first video of you dancing with the
Yes,
pumpkins, and that
yes.
video kind of it went a little bit viral.
Well, on Facebook, it
On
got
Facebook,
more
yeah.
than I think 7 million.
7 million
7
views.
million hits. Yeah. So
And you had just started dancing at the dance studio. What's the name of the dance studio?
So I dance at Playground LA. It's on Melrose. Check it out. It's really awesome. Kenny Warmold, who is like one of my, I followed him forever. He was like an inspiring dancer, and they built a studio, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start going and seeing how this is. And it was so terrifying. My first one. Oh my gosh, it was so scary, but I loved it. And I remember like this is because I danced before.
Mhm.
The first time that I started dancing, I was 6 years old. I did hip hop, jazz, tap, and ballet, and to about I think I was 12 when I stopped because that was when I was realizing that the studio has like a dancer quota, and that wasn't what I look like, so I would never be that way, and so I quit, which was sad. But it took me a while, and I remembered like why I love dancing. I was always dancing in the club, like everywhere. Oh my gosh, dancing all the time, and making like choreograph to myself, and stuff like that. So yeah.
What was the moment that you decided I'm gonna stop caring what everybody thinks and I'm gonna get back into the dance studio? How did that happen for you?
So it was probably about 2 years ago almost, because I'm coming up on a birthday, sobriety birthday. November 12th, I'll be 2. And right when I decided to get sober was when I realized that I, like, I want to do what I want to do. I want to stop living in this life where I'm hiding and scared to do what I want to do, and just if it works out, it works out. And I showed up and I loved it. Like, I remembered the feeling of like that was my way of expressing myself in a positive way, and it was really cool to do it sober. Like,
Right.
it was amazing. It was overwhelming.
Well, speaking of sobriety, Jonna actually is my sober sister.
Yes.
Jonna, if it wasn't for meeting you, I probably would not have gotten sober. You know,
It was God's.
it was
plan.
God's work, right? God's plan.
Seriously, like, it was
It really
weird the way
was.
that we met and everything that like panned out and what we were going through. And
Well, because I think that, we talked about this a few days ago, but we both kind of drank for similar reasons. And,
yes.
I felt, for me, when I drank, I could like convince myself like that I was like everybody else. And what were you telling me the other night?
Oh my gosh, the other day I was saying that like I forgot how much I drank to like pretend in my head that I was average size, so I could like go and be around people and be like, okay, I'm gonna hit on you and you because I can, and like it's basically liquid courage, like to do all that. But I forgot like that was my motive behind it, was to forget who I truly am and like almost like have a different identity, you know? Yeah.
No, I totally relate to you on that. And I just think it's so amazing how far we both have come in being sober. And that I know that I wouldn't have small talk if I was still drinking and doing all that cocaine.
Yeah. Crazy.
I know.
You've grown too. I love watching you like do what you do. Like it's inspiring, and I love you.
I love you.
Yeah.
Lila, do you love me? Yes, I do. I love everybody. As you can see on my show, Small Talk. So, Jonna, tell everybody where you're from.
So I am from Fresno, California, but in a small town called Kingsburg. It's like there's like 10,000 people. Very small. Farmer town. Like, grew up in the hick. I was a hick, basically. And yeah, my parents live there my mom still lives in my same house that I was born in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my grandpa built it. So,
oh, my gosh.
my grandpa built like half of the town.
Oh, my
to
gosh.
be honest, it's crazy. I have a brother, and he is 6'2", and I used to tell everyone he stole my height. And so like he's a cowboy. He kind of looks like a cowboy, tall, skinny. I'm like, what the hell? What happened here? And so he's 8 years older than me. So we kind of had like a total different childhood, you know. But yeah, so
Is there anyone else in your family with a disability?
No, I'm the only little person in my family. Yeah. So
The only little one.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of.
I'm the only one with spina bifida too.
It's cool. I like it, but like when I was growing up, I hated it because it was hard to like. I had no one to talk to, and like ask questions that I had, because like my mom did the best she could, and my dad and everybody else, but sometimes there were questions that were really hard for them to even answer or to understand.
How old were you when you first met somebody who was a little?
Oh my
little
gosh!
person?
So I was.
And can you describe the experience?
Yeah. So I was 5, and my mom took me to the first LPA conference, which is Little People of America conference. They do one every year, and it's usually like around different states. But this one was, I think it was in San Francisco. And I went there, and I remember walking in with my mom, and I see all these little people, and I just start crying. I'm literally bawling, crying, like, what is this? Like, it was the first time I saw someone, like, and I realized that is who I am. And, like, that's what people see. Like, because all my friends were average, they treated me like I was average.
Right.
And there wasn't like, oh, Jonna's little. It was just like, Jonna's Jonna, And so it freaked me out. Like, it freaked me out. And I told my mom, I'm never coming back again. And she was like, really? And to be honest, like, I didn't go back till I was 13 the next time. And then, and I always brought a friend because it was too scary for me. To be honest, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I was so afraid because I didn't want to accept that was who I was.
Dude, that is so crazy because that brought back memories for me. The first time I actually met anybody with spina bifida, I was 21.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I met like a large group of people, like I went to an event and it was like a disabilities event. And I met a bunch of people with disabilities and a bunch of kids with spina bifida.
Okay.
And it really, I went back to my car and I bawled too.
Yeah.
It's a very overwhelming because like, I totally relate to what you're saying. Where like all of my friends treated me like I was normal, and then to like be faced with the reality of wait, I am different, and then it's like almost this rebuilding process of having to.
Oh yeah.
Your identity it's very confusing.
Well, yeah, like I lived in basically this fantasy world in my head of like who I was and like wanted to be mostly, and then like
what was the fantasy world for you?
Oh, I was this like average size. I didn't want to be like 6 foot, so I was like 5'6", 5'7", tall, like skinny girl that was like always, everybody loved her. Which I was like, okay, I'm also the only little person in my town, still to this day, and I'm on the mural, on the library, which is crazy. So like every time I go home, I'm like, oh, there's Jonna, and it's a terrible, terrible picture or painting. Oh, I hate it. But yeah. So basically,
so you're the like, star of your town.
Yeah,
I
was.
Even if you didn't want to be, you
exactly. Yeah, kind of crazy. So, but yeah. So my fantasy was almost like it got shattered, and I was like. Like, it was just so overwhelming, and I couldn't deal with it, and it took me many, many years, and I struggled through, like, eating disorder and, addiction and all kinds of stuff. Relationships, dating, like, that was a whole nother ball game, And
how has being little affected your dating life?
Well, I have none. So, basically, a lot of my relationships... like in high school and stuff, or before, it was like I had all these crushes. I was boy crazy, and but they would be like, oh yeah, Jonna, I like you, like, but if you were taller. And I'm like, well, I can't take a magic pill, or like, can you buy it for me, because I'd take it, like, and then we could date, but so that was like the reality, and it was always like, or guys would want to date me in like secret, they didn't want people to know, their friends or whatever, and so that was kind of my reality that I accepted for a long time, which is not a good thing, and I don't deserve that, and nobody deserves that, so yeah.
Well, I think it's really amazing what you're doing on your social media by like dancing and putting yourself out there, because for me, before I was in my serious relationship with Eric Abinante, who I love very much, I remember when I was in high school and when I was in college, I did a lot of online dating. And
gosh. Yes.
I would just take pictures from the torso up and then be like, I would like, we talk on the phone, and then I would like talk to them for months, and then when we'd meet in person, I'd be like surprised. I'm like, I thought you fell in love with my personality.
Seriously?
Oh God, that's so bad.
I did that too. Okay, when MySpace was around, it was the like MySpace selfie, like the best. Yeah, that's what I had for a really long time. Unless like all the people that I honestly tried to date were at school, so they knew that I was little, But yeah.
No, I would catfish people, but like not really, because it's like they're gonna know, but I want
like,
them to.
Hey,
I just like they would say I have such pretty eyes and a beautiful face and an amazing personality. So I'm just lacking the 2 feet that I thought that you thought I had.
Totally.
Yes. So it's like, it's funny now that I look back on those times of being I don't want to say I was like insecure, but in a way, like I was just afraid, because so many times guys had said that to me, like, I would totally date you, but you're a midget and my friends are gonna make fun of me, like literally those were the words. And for a long time, even like that word midget would fucking destroy me to the core. And it's funny now, I know it's so unbelievable to think that, because of all the DMs I get and all the people that are commenting on stuff, but there is something to be said about when you are confident and who you are, and you're like, hey, here's the deal. I'm 4.5 feet tall. I'm the same size as an LA parking meter. This is who I am. Either you take it or you don't. We really kind of weave out a lot of people who wouldn't have been there for us in the first place.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing now. Like, finally, I'm understanding that I need to be up front and be like, hey, this is what I want. This is who I am. And if you don't like me, like, bye. Like, and that's it. And not worry about the ones that are like, I kind of like, and they're kind of like giving me the signal, like mixed signals, and like not, confusing and everything. So I'm like, I'm not about that. Like,
well, I'm really proud of you.
Like, you gotta have balls, like really big balls, to like date me.
Yeah, you've got to have giant balls to be with us. It's gonna take a strong man to be with us. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
yeah, because it's like you have to be so comfortable with themselves and us together, and like the world around you to be like, I don't fucking care. I love this person, and that's who I'm with. Like,
exactly.
So.
Well, it's really interesting to me how, like, in the disabled worlds, we are the largest community, right? Disability can affect any race, any color, any gender. You can be born with a disability. You could have an accident and shit happens, and then you become disabled. Yet I feel like there's a stigma around the word itself, or like for a long time I didn't even want to say I had a disability, or I am a little person, or I was so like, I would tell people, Jonna, that I was born premature.
I was. So I used to say that. I'd just lead with it. Hey, I was born premature, and like, I'm a dwarf. And they're like, oh, wait, does that have anything to do with that? And I'm like, no.
Well, the thing that's funny is premature babies, for the most part, like, grow up, like normal. And
right.
And we just kind of didn't. So
we just stopped.
And also, I have scoliosis too, and like, I would leave out the scoliosis part. Or no, I would.
Why?
Because when you're a kid, everybody got checked for scoliosis.
Oh, I don't.
And like when you're
okay.
They would check kids for scoliosis at like when you were in like the 4th grade, and they would do the scoliosis check. And I remember like being in line, like, getting checked for scoliosis, and like knowing like I fucking have this shit. Yeah. And this was some bullshit. And like I would just act like, oh, I didn't know that.
What? Oh my god. It's funny, but I would do the same thing. I'd be like, what? Yeah.
I just feel like I'm so far removed from that person that I was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I feel the same way about you. Like, you're so different than the woman I met a couple of years ago, to where you are now. Like, how, like I said, you were following 5,000 people on Instagram, everybody and their mom. Yeah. And now you've built your own platform where it's like you can inspire other people in a positive way, because I read the comments that you have on there, and it's like a lot of kids that are following you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have like the majority of them are like 11, 12, and like up to 18. And then I have, the older crowd, but a lot of them are like dancers themselves that are in like junior high school, and I get questions all the time about like, I dance, but I don't feel comfortable, and how did you get over that, or what can I do? And like, it's really cool that they want my opinion. Like,
What's one of the coolest messages that you've received from someone on Instagram?
Oh, gosh. There's not, like, one specific, but a lot of them are just, like, some of them, okay, they're, like, I'm in high school and I have no friends. Can I be your friend?
Oh.
And I'm like, I remember feeling like that. Like, in high school where, like, I had friends, but not, like, the people that, they knew me. It was, like, you knew me, and that's why you're my friend, not because you, like, wanted to. And feeling alone in, like, high school is fucking rough. Like, God, I would never want to go back.
Me too. Thank God.
I just had my 10-year reunion.
Oh
my
wow.
God. It was crazy. Like, okay, it was kind of funny because there was only, like, 20 people that showed up. And I was like, okay. I mean, I was super nervous, but it kind of made it better because we got to talk about, like, one-on-one with certain people about, some people live in New York. Some people live in the same town. A lot of us, like, still live in town. and it's like you never got out, you know, and it's kind of sad, but like I don't know. It was cool. I had a good time. I was really, really thankful that I could be there sober, and like I couldn't imagine being messed up and they're like, oh my gosh, train wreck. Like, yeah.
What do you think that your high school self would think about who you are today?
What the fuck? Like, who, what? Like, are you in a dream? Like, honestly, this is, I don't think I ever believed that this could possibly happen to me. And sometimes I still have to, like, wake myself up and be like, this is your life. Like, it's really cool. And I think, I don't know what she would say. She'd probably tell me, you know, like, it's about damn time for you to get, like, your shit together and be who you truly are or have always been. So,
what advice would you have for anybody out there who, you know, maybe has a disability or doesn't have a disability, but I mean, like, is struggling to come to terms with who they are or how they look?
Yeah. Ugh. Well, the society is so hard on us, everyone. You know, it doesn't matter if you are 7 feet tall, 2 feet tall. Like, I think I would just say, like, just own it. Like, own whatever you were born with and what you have and who you are. And, like, the things that other people say, like, that's their own projection of their own shit, not about you. And, like, just be true and honest and find those people who can really, like, accept you. And that will help your confidence too, because I had to find those people and it took me a while. But don't let anybody, like, all the, like, material stuff and, like, you think that that's gonna make you feel whole and happy, but it doesn't, you know. I don't know.
No, it's great.
Okay.
I love it. That was good.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite part I like to do on the show is you're gonna look into the camera and you're gonna give yourself a message 5 years into the future. What you would like.
5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh. This is really hard. I'd say, Jonna, you are an amazing person that deserves the world, and you can't stop from doing what you're doing. And the more that you do that, you're, like, all the good things are going to happen to you, and you're going to live a, I don't know, like, a really fucking dope life.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I love you.
And I love you too. I love you.
Small Talk Live! Hello, my sweethearts. Hi. What's the transition like from not being in the public eye to having this newfound Instagram fame?
Oh gosh. Honestly, it's taken me, like, a long time to get used to it. I still trip out, but I think it's just honestly with, like, your help, because you kind of had already that going on, and you kind of explained to me sometimes when I'd be like, oh my god, this was a bad comment, or what do I do? And, like, I got a comment from actually another little person that was, like, really upset with what I was doing and basically did not want me to continue to do this, which was weird. And I was like, what do I respond? Do I respond? How do I do this, you know? And I think, like, over time, I just felt like the more honest I am about it and, like, everything, I can connect, and that helps them to, like, relate me as, like, a friend, you know?
Yes.
Like, if you're just talking, you're like, oh yeah, da da da, and not being so, like, formal, people are willing to, like, just, it's like a flow, you know? And that's because I did that. It also helped me to have all these people and feel like they're, like, my family, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they are. Like, they help me through things. Like, sometimes all the lives I go on to just rant about, like, stupid shit, and they're like, yeah, I feel the same way, or, like, fuck that dude, like,
Okay,
you know? Like,
now I have my train of thought, and I remembered what I need to explain to the audience. So when we first met, the reason I keep bringing up the fact that she was following 5,000 people and, you know, she only had 1,000 followers in this is because I always told Jonna that whether or not she wanted to be, like, a celebrity or a star, no matter where she went, people were going to remember who she was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if she goes to Ralph's or people will come and be like, I saw you in the parking lot. Like, it's just because when you are somebody that is so little and so recognizable, you're in the public spotlight already.
Right.
So I remember suggesting to you, like, hey, you should use your Instagram and try to make yourself a platform so you can share positivity and you can like connect with people and have a place to where you can like talk about your feelings and for people to see you as a real person, because like a lot of times people have never met somebody so little. By the way, I'll tell you something really funny. I was walking on Hollywood Boulevard in my Halloween costume, right? And there was a little girl about 8 years old, same size as me, walks by, and I'm with my friend Mariel, and she goes, "Happy Halloween." She sees me and she goes, "Oh, you're like a child." You're like a child. And it was so sweet. And I, later on, me and my friend Mariel were laughing about it because it was like, see, she didn't mean anything harmful by that.
No.
She meant, oh my gosh, I could tell you're an adult, but you are like a child.
Yeah.
You're the size of like a child.
Right. I think the heartwarming comment I've ever gotten was I was at Disneyland, and this little kid, I swear he was like 4 or 5. Super cute little boy. He like saw that, I'm on my phone and I'm talking to my friends, like whatever, and he says, "Mommy, is that a little mommy?" And I was like, oh my god. I was like, that is so cute.
That is really
I love
sweet.
that.
And that children, they come from a place of innocence.
Exactly.
And for the little boy to be like, "Is that a little mommy?" That's really cute.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's as children grow up, and it's the parenting that starts them to say like mean things of like, the mean comments
exactly.
that go
Well,
as
they
kids.
they get the influence from TV, from parenting, obviously, and from their friends. And I think that our job, or my job, is to educate them. Like anytime that even a little kid, even an adult, if they say something that's like offensive or like kind of disrespectful, I will like tell them like, "Hey, actually this is da 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 da," because I want people to understand. And like, I'm fine with you taking pictures of me, like I don't care. Come up to me, ask me for a picture, talk to me, ask me any questions you have. Like, I would rather you do that,
but that's
than
also
you stare and like take a video like of Snapchat. Like, I can't tell, like, come on. Really?
But see, that's also my point. Even if you didn't want to be a celebrity or an Instagram star, people are already taking pictures of you walking through the parking lot.
Yeah,
so
all the time.
when we met, that's when I was like, you have to do something with this and use the power of social media to like, what was the word I said to you? It was like to like write your own story, and then you're more in charge of it, right? Like you're more in charge of it, because before, like, people would just take your videos and then they would like, do stuff that with them that wasn't so nice. Where it's like now you have your own platform and you have your way to like talk to people, educate people, connect with people, and I don't know. I want you to get as successful as possible with where this Instagram stuff will take you, whether that's on TV or doing more interviews, because like I said, that the disabled community, we are the largest community, but we are the least represented in the media.
Yes.
How much different do you think your childhood would have been if you turned on TV and you would have saw little people in movies, or doing like news desk jobs or just reporting?
Oh yeah, for sure. It would have been so different. I remember.
Or on the front page of like a magazine.
Yeah. Oh, I would have been like, what the? I think like ever since like Little People Big World and like Peter
Dinklage.
Yeah, from Game of Thrones, who I love. The ability to see that they're like have like a good, I don't know, like a good platform and a good steady like education wise on like who we are, and people take us seriously. Like people take us seriously because we're just like everyone else. Like, we have jobs, we drive, we go to the market, we have relationships, we have kids, like, Yeah,
everything. It's like, everything is the same.
Yeah.
Really, except for the world is not made
for us. I just modify. I say I modify, So, yeah.
As your platform continues to grow on Instagram, like, are you hoping to get on TV or?
Gosh, I think.
Or what would you like to do?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think I would be open to it. I definitely have had different like moments where I was like, okay, you know, if I really wanted to help people in every aspect like this, it would be the best way to do that. But it's hard for me to like think of me of being on TV. Like, I don't know, but like I don't know, because
so we have shows now, like you said, there's Little People Big World and Little Women LA, and as you know, I was on an episode of Little Women LA.
Yeah, I know.
And when I was on the show with the girls, I was so excited to talk to you about that, because like I had really looked up to those girls watching the show, because of the fact that, you know, we don't have a lot of little people on TV, and that show to me, I felt like it was empowering. And but they did not like my use of the M word midget in my stand up. And I'm really, you know, how did you feel about that? Also being a little person.
Yeah, okay. So I don't like the word midget, but I remember like, cuz I think we had this conversation and you explained to me because I came to one of your stand up and you talked about it, and I was like, it didn't click to me until after, where I realized that like, okay, the midget word can be offensive to a lot of people or to me, but you're saying that like you're just a Filipino like and like I'm saying my name is just Jonna, like I'm not that or whatever. So it was like I understood where I think you explained it to me, like taking the word
and taking the power away from it. Right. Where it's like, I don't like the word midget.
Yeah,
okay. I don't like the word midget. Just like I feel like, because they try to tell me on the show, you know, it's just like using the N word, right? Where it's like I don't want to. What's a way to say it? I don't like the word midget, and that's why I'm talking about it in my stand-up, to remove the power away for it, so it doesn't have power over me. Exactly, because when the first comedy show that I went to, Adam Ray was on stage and he was talking about his midget friend Brad Williams, and I was an audience member, and I felt so uncomfortable, and so uncomfortable to the point my friend that was with me was like, you should go up to Adam and tell him that you don't like that he said midget on stage. Did right you? No, I didn't. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. But then 2 weeks later, I started doing stand-up, and that's where I came up with the line, I'm not a midget, I'm Filipino. You know, and like I said, for me, it's taking the power away from it. And the same thing with the word disability. I'm working on a new act where I say the word disability, and I don't want to be ashamed of the words that used to make me feel ashamed. Right. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, exactly. Because words are just words. Like, that doesn't define who you are. Doesn't give, like, that's why I think, like, what you're doing is great. Like, I totally believe that you're trying to like change people's outlook on different things, and like words that we use, like we need to be careful about it. Like, yeah, it's still not an okay word, but yeah, so.
It's not an okay word to use, but it's like it's okay for me and you to talk about it and say it. Right. Does that make sense? Like when I want to talk about the midget stuff, and you want to say the midget word, you can say it, but like homeboy over there can't just call us a midget. I can call you a sexy midget, you can call me a sexy midget, but you can't do that. Does that make sense? Like, cripple is the new black. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, my God. You're hilarious. I love you.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on this stuff. Another reason, like, me and you were able to connect, like, I'm explaining to the audience, is Jonna was the first person, my first little person friend. I was her first true little person friend, too. And we were able to talk about this because I feel like there is this, like, stigma in the little person community. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Hell, we're on this small talk podcast, and this is the place to do it. Whereas there is this kind of stigma of...
Yeah, it's weird because... So... In my opinion, I feel like we as a community, because our community is big, but it's also divided and small because we're from all over the world, and we only have one event a year to all come together. Mm-hmm. Like that just seems weird, you know? And the fact that like, okay, there's also the 1% of us that is like in the public eye, and a lot of us don't like collaborate, or that's what I've seen, and it doesn't make any sense. Like I feel like more should be doing like what we're doing.
Well, I've met a lot of other little people who have actually told me I don't like working with other little people. And I refuse to work with other little people.
It's just so bizarre. Or I'll have people that like comment things like, you know, what you're doing is not changing anything, not changing anybody's perspective. You're just out there because you want money for a TV. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm doing. And most of the people that say that, I feel like they're so afraid to like go out there. Like we all struggle from like hiding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we all have done that, but like I don't know.
I feel like it's also like your outlook on your view on things. For example, I've been told I'll work like little people events where I'll do like a sexy leprechaun event, and I'll get paid to go to parties, and I'll wear like a sexy leprechaun outfit. And I've been told by some little people that, oh, that's degrading and how could you do that? But I've realized, or this is my outlook on it, is it's no different than a Victoria's Secret model walking down the runway being paid for how she looks, right? Like, it's no different than a hot bartender getting paid to work as a bartender because that's the look that they're looking for. And I think it's like your attitude that goes into it as well. I mean, it can be debatable.
I think it
goes both ways.
Yeah, I remember, so the first time I ever came to a Hollywood party was at the Hotel Roosevelt, and they have
Beecher's Madhouse.
Yeah, Beecher's Madhouse, and I had no idea what it was, and I just walk in with, you know, average people, and I look and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, there's all these little people in costumes flying around the room, and like I was so in shock. Like, I was just like, oh my god, this is real. Like, what is happening over there? And there's a midget bar over there, and there's like, it was so crazy to me. And I realized though also, like, for me, I would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't go in the mirror and be okay with myself. Mm-hmm. But other people can do that and be okay, and that's just their job. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not saying that like that's who they are. They're doing it for a job, just like other people act, just like we do whatever we're doing, you know? So, but it's controversial.
No, but I mean, like, I think what it comes down to is that, you know, if we just, even in our own world of disability, there is discrimination. In our own world of disability, there is judgmental things that happen. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, we're all just people.
Yeah, we're all trying to live our life and, like, love each other, like, and ourselves.
I'm so happy we're both sober.
Amen.
Do you feel obligated to be a role model now that you're in the public eye?
Not obligated. Like, there's a part of me that, like, I want to do this because I always wanted someone to be that way for me, and I never had it. And the fact that, like, I have this opportunity to do that is, like, really awesome, and I'm, like, grateful for it. So it's more like I want to, because I also want to change people's perspective and, like, not change it, but just, like, let them be aware of it, you know? Mm-hmm. And like, I like being a role model more than, like, I don't like the word, like, you're famous or you're a celebrity. Like, no. I don't feel that way at all. Mm-hmm. And I don't really want to. Like, I'm just like everyone else, you know? Like, I have the same feelings. I have the same, like, thoughts. And, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, no, that does. It answers it perfectly. I love it. I feel the same way. You know, I feel like the best way to be a role model, though, is, like, to be true to you, right, and to, like, be authentically real. And I think that, you know, a lot of times when we're in the public eye, especially with having a disability, people just automatically assume that you have to be inspiring and you have to, you know, do these certain things. But it's like, some days you just have a shitty day.
Yeah.
And it's okay to go on live and talk about it.
Yes.
And I love that you do go on live all the time. I see you be going on live.
I do. I've been trying more often because people do relate, and they, like, love how honest I am sometimes. And, like, I don't know. It's funny. It's like I'll get to a point where I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I need to talk about this, you know? And, like, I need to, like, it's almost like, because I don't really need a response. Mm-hmm. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it just for my own self, to, like, hear myself talk about the things. Because sometimes, like, it's too scary, or, you know, it's like writing, you know? Like, when you write it out, it feels better. So. Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that you're working on this year as far as like personal growth?
Gosh. Well, I think, like I said before, is really like just being honest about like what I want, like the type of person I want, and like if you're out there, like okay, but like I'm not gonna like play games, you know, and like I'm too old for that. Like
Jonna, ready for love?
yes.
On next week's episode, Jonna goes on a blind
date. Oh my god.
Ready for love. We're sending full body shots. Standing next to doors so they know.
A yardstick.
Yeah, standing. That's exactly what we're doing.
So, and I think just that continue to be like honest and open and like learning the lessons that I'm learning like as the time goes by, you know? And like I really want to just be more like adventurous too. Like do more things.
Well, I'm going to say this on Small Talk. I do believe that someday you're going to be an amazing girlfriend, and an amazing wife, and an amazing mother. It's going to happen for you.
Yes, one day.
It's going to happen.
For you too.
Hell yeah.
You already got one, so.
And I'm a cat mama now, too. Yeah, Cupcake.
So cute. Oh my god, I'm obsessed. Yes, can we please?
Yeah, let's bring Cupcake out for a minute.
She's good.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, my name's Jonna Ross, and this is another episode of Small Talk with Lila Hart and Cupcake. Say hi, Cupcake. She's so adorable. Look at her.
I'm a cat mama, y'all.
There she is. She's so cute.
Okay, maybe we could put her on the table.
There we go. Yay!
Oh, she's so cute.
Hi,
Is
Kiki.
there anything else that you would like the audience to know?
Gosh, I don't know. I think it's important to, like, with being sober and everything, and before that, like, struggling with, like, mental illness, like, anxiety and depression is, like, a huge thing. And, I think we both relate on that.
Yeah, my anxiety is crippling.
Yeah, it is. It, like, was paralyzing for me, even, like, before I got sober, and sometimes today, certain days, I just, like, I can't, you know, deal with it, but, it's important to understand, like, we all go through those times or have those issues, and just to support one another, like, and to get help. Like, it's okay to get help. Like, getting help is the way that you can grow and be a better person, and, like, that's what everybody wants to do, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
I just love you so much.
I love you too.
You guys be sure to follow Jonna at Lil Miss Ross. And, yeah, tune in next week. Small Talk.